Hey everybody, how you doing? I am live here, and I haven't gone live in a long time, so I figured I would just do a random live stream from my office. This is actually the very first time I've done a live stream for the YouTube channel here at our new office in Gig Harbor. I used to have an office over in Bellevue, and we moved, boy, what was it, about 4 months ago, and it's taken this long to get things back in order. So hopefully some viewers want to join. Let's see. I'm going to type in some information here. Chat, replay, yeah. Anybody can send a message, sure. Let's go ahead and turn that on, and boom. I don't know if we're public, though. Let's see if this is public. I haven't done this in so long. This is nuts. Let's see here. Are we live? Visibility. Oh, yeah, we're private. Let's go public. And there we go. And there we go. Boom, there we go. Now we should be public. Hey everybody, how you doing? This is Ryan with Driving Sports TV, and I am live from my studio here in Gig Harbor, Washington. We actually moved studios here not too long ago. Right now, I'm just kind of waiting for anybody to jump on the stream here. We haven't streamed live on this secondary channel for a long time, and I just, yeah, I'm back, baby. Let's see if I can cue something up here. Anybody around? I don't know. Is 3 o'clock on a Monday afternoon, West Coast time, a good time to go live? I don't know. Let's see. Yeah, there we go. We are live indeed. See if anybody's going to pop in here and say hi. Post a comment over in the comment section if you want to say hi. So I have been doing lots of things recently. I recently actually just did the, what was that? It was the Subaru Crosstrek, the all-new Subaru Crosstrek. Just went and test drove that the other day. That was fun. I can't tell you driving impressions about it yet because it is not public information. Won't be public until, boy, when is that? This coming Monday. We have the video in production right now in edit, and we'll have that posted real soon now. So just waiting for folks to file in if y'all can. Oh, that's interesting. Oh, sorry, the 4Runner thumbnail. Okay, so no, normally I would prep this video and then hit live, but really I just updated my streaming hardware. I hit go. I was planning on doing live this afternoon, but as it is, I hit go. So here I am. I'm live. Hello, everybody. This is a good opportunity to ask questions if you have any questions. I don't know how long I'm going to do this for, basically until I run out of breath or I run out of coffee, one or the other. Well, I'm almost out of coffee already, so that's not a good start. The new Subaru Crosstrek, just drove that. Can't give you driving impressions yet, but I can say that it currently, of course, has the 2-liter motor. And the reason why it has, we've done the review of the 2-liter. We just filmed that. Today's Thursday. I guess we filmed that on Tuesday. That vehicle is already starting production in Japan because the 2 liters are the global version of the Crosstrek, and the 2.5 liter is for the U.S. market, and so they're going to start producing those at SIA, Subaru, Indiana. And so those are the 2.5 units. Those haven't started production yet. We don't even have pre-production vehicles available to us. We're not going to be driving that car until about May. Early May, late April, somewhere around there. So anybody who's waiting for the wilderness version of the car. That will most likely either we'll know more by then, or we'll find out that they've decided not to make it, or we're driving it. I have absolutely no idea. The invites aren't official on those dates yet. I don't even know the exact dates. So we got some questions here. Why are you teasing me with the 4Runner thumbnail? If you came in late, the reason we have the 4Runner thumbnail is that was actually the default thumbnail for the live, because we tried to do a live stream while we were doing a 4Runner road trip, and it went horribly wrong. And so that thumbnail is basically left over from that. How about this? How about I change out the thumbnail? Do I have something else I can drop in there? I'm sure I do. Let's see, what pictures do we have here? I'll get to the chicken question here in just a moment. Oh, right, I'm not on my normal computer here. This is actually a different notebook. So I guess we're just going to keep the 4Runner thumbnail up until I'm done with the stream, and then I'll swap it out with something else. Are the chickens for laying eggs, or are they lunch, dinner as well? I know a lot of people are curious about my chickens. No, the children have named all of the chickens. Various names like Gertie and Grandpa. Yes, they know they're girls. Boy, where's some of the other ones? Ebony Darkness, that's the smallest black one. It always gets into trouble. And then, boy, I should know my chickens better. Anyway, the chickens are all named. So we're not eating anything that we've named. They are for eggs, and they are producing a lot of eggs. We're currently getting about between 6 and 8 a day, which is pretty good for this time of year, because this is not exactly like peak egg laying season. Yeah, so there we go. All about the chicks. Yeah. Yeah, no, these chickens, we are never eating these chickens. Once they stop laying, they will continue to just hang out with us. They are our friends. I have no problem killing and eating chickens, but not ones that I've named and that my children like and allow us to carry them around. They're pretty nice chickens, actually. They do allow us to pick them up and carry them. You've probably seen me carry one in at least one review. I think the GMC Sierra Denali Ultimate that I just filmed, I think Gertie came up to me. I think that was Gertie that I picked up at the beginning of that video, which you'll see coming out here. Well, it's in edit right now. Jordan says, I was told yesterday by a sales rep that there will probably never be a Crosstrek Wilderness because they can't fit a full-size spare in the rear. Well, Jordan, I mean, that's possible, but the official leaked product the product timeline from several years ago did show that there was supposed to be a Crosstrek Wilderness. And let's just say that the people who actually work in product planning are not denying the existence of a Wilderness. So I would be shocked if there is no Wilderness. I mean, talk about minting money for Subaru, right? Everybody who bought a first generation Crosstrek and loves it and doesn't want to give it up, yeah, put a Wilderness on the table. They'll probably buy them. it's everything short of putting in a turbo motor. Will they put a turbo 2.5 in the Wilderness or even a turbo 2? I think that's highly unlikely. I think more likely it's going to have the 2.5 that's currently in the Sport, but it will be, they'll add a lot more off-road capability to it because, I mean, that's just very Subaru. Especially because you're talking about one specific product for one market. They have to really amateurize that motor. I just don't see them. I mean, I just don't see that happening. Anyway, can you give recommendations for a Honda Ridgeline for light off-roading and daily commuting? So are you asking for a specific trim level of the Ridgeline, or would I just recommend the Ridgeline in general for light off-roading and daily commuting? Yeah, I would. But I honestly think that if it's just, unless you need this, oh, can you give a tire recommendation? Oh, okay. Light off-roading. So if you're commuting, you definitely don't want to kill your MPGs. So going with even like a Wild Peak AT3W, it's going to do a little something to the MPGs. If it's just really light off-roading, like honestly, you're sticking to main roads and only have a couple little challenging sections, one of the more trail oriented off-road tires would probably be a better choice, because that way you're going to get less noise on the freeway. You'll be able to keep decent MPGs, and you're not going to yeah, Devin, BFG KO2s. I'm not going to recommend KO2s for somebody who 50% of your question is about commuting. Yeah, you don't need a KO2 for that. You're basically just flushing gas down the injectors. So not really a necessary thing, I don't think. I think KO2's overall a little bit higher. So yeah, go with a trail rated. There's a bunch of them. I've personally, of the trail rated ones, obviously I've used the ones that OEMs include. So like Subaru uses the Geolander. It's a trail version of the Geolander. It's fine. I would probably lean towards something that has the peak rating, because why not? But really the one that I'm running on my wife's car is the and it's the Crosstrek Sport. She's driving the what is it? It's the Wild Peak, the Falken Wild Peak Trail, and we find those are pretty good. The one I don't like, there's a BFG Trail tire. I tried those out on my Maverick, and I really don't like them. My biggest concern is there's no place for water to evacuate the tire. It kind of has a continuous tread block on the sides with. There's no water evacuation from the sides, and living in Seattle, that's something we think about a lot. So I would absolutely not say yes on that one. Yeah, Devin, no, you can't complain about losing MPGs on the 4Runner. Oh, mercy. You know, the one thing that I do find, our trail rated tires, 3 Peak Snowflake rated. Yes, actually, the Wild Peak is. It is a 3 Peak rated tire, which yay. Also, actually, the Geolander's on the Subaru. I don't know exactly which one I don't know the name of the Geolander trail that you buy outside of the ones you get on Subaru. They usually have slightly different names for OEM, but those ones are also peak rated, and those ones are fine. So yeah, just go with that. Go with a trail rated all-terrain with a 3 Peak. Don't go with something with big, heavy lugs. Don't get KO2s. You just don't need that. It's a bit much. So let's talk about my chickens a little more now. One thing I have been actually really busy doing is we are launching a new channel. It's we've been kind of playing with the whole like multi-channel thing because it's really trying to figure out YouTube's algorithm, and I've been doing YouTube for like 16 years now. And a couple years ago, you really had to be super laser focused on each channel. Specifically, if you wanted to do shorts, you couldn't do a short on your main channel because the viewership would kind of tank it. Anyway, the way the algorithm worked and the way that it presented content, it wasn't advantageous to put a short onto like the big channel. Yeah, we actually have a TikTok. It's Driving Sports, real easy. And we actually post to it pretty regularly. I think 4,000 people follow us on there or something. I was really late to TikTok. I mean, I think, boy, I've been doing TikTok for a few months now, maybe. Anyway, so it used to be that with YouTube, you had to be really laser focused with what channel, what content was on which channel. Now they've gotten way better now with the way they present shorts because they're categorized separately. They're also affect the algorithm differently. So if you have a short that doesn't take off, it's not going to affect, like if I do a short that nobody watches and then I put out a long TV style production, the bad performing short isn't going to affect the bigger production. It used to be that kind of was the case, but now they've sectioned the two off, so one does not really affect the other, so that's really good. So that's why we've started to do some limited shorts on the main channel. Now, we used to put those onto a channel that we call Driving Sports Extra, and we've been kind of playing with what to do with that channel. The initial idea that I was all gung-ho for was to do all the EV stuff over there, but here's the problem with that. In 5 years, most cars are going to be EV or some EV component. So basically, if we did create a new channel that was EV only, basically we're saying that that's the future of the channel, which is not the case. So I'm kind of risking my. I'm kind of like I've gone all in on just saying, you know what, all the TV production car stuff is going on the main channel. It's just it's silly to split them off, because I just don't think that it needed to. Yeah, Kyle Connor and I mean, like even TFL. I mean, they were some of the early pioneers of doing a channel for everything. Right now with the algorithm, one of the biggest issues is overlapping videos. So you can't really do a video a day anymore unless you're doing like vlogging style content, because once a video is put out, it kind of suppresses the action of a previous video a little bit. We've at least seen a little action reaction when that happens. Anyway, so the other channel that we're doing now is actually riding sports. So little bit of a history here. I rode a motorcycle for a decade before I ever owned a car. I started on motorcycles. But once I got married and I started doing wheelies with my GPZ 750, which is a sport tour, I decided maybe my personality didn't really fit with safety on a motorcycle. So I decided that I wouldn't buy any more motorcycles at that point. However, now that I live in the middle of nowhere, and now that I have property available to me, you know, one thing that I really like on two wheels is just riding for fun and for off-road stuff. So I'm not going to say that we're going to do like, you know, the full-on off-road motorcycles, but there's this whole new category of e-bikes that kind of blend the you know, between the moped-y type stuff, and then they also do the like more off-road motorcycle, like a Sur-Ron or something like that. And I think that those are very interesting, and they're also there's a lot of growth in that market. So we're doing a lot more of that kind of stuff on that other channel. Also, you're going to see my son on that other channel a lot because that's what he's interested in. He also, by the way, we did that scooter review last year. I'm not sure if anybody remembers it, but we had this 40-mile-per-hour two-wheel drive full suspension scooter from, it was the Varla Eagle 1. Once we moved out to the middle of nowhere here, I gave that one to my son, and he rips up the neighborhood every day. He has a buddy down the street who has a mini bike, and they are just circles all day long. He jumps it, he slides it, he's getting pretty good with it. But anyway, it gives him an opportunity to help contribute to the channel a little bit more too. So you'll see him over on riding sports probably a little bit more. If Ural calls me, I would love to do a Ural. We just did the Upco 2x2, which is a New Zealand farm bike that has a 3.1 kilowatt hour battery in it. That thing is nuts. It is capped at about 30 miles an hour, but really when you're going off-road, unless you're, you know, going through some prairie or something like that, 30 is pretty quick. And that one, I actually find them pretty good. I haven't actually ridden a Sur-Ron yet, but I do plan on, I hope to be able to get one. The problem with like Sur-Ron is you can't just call up Sur-Ron and have them send you a bike because they just don't seem to really exist in that way. But we do have, what do we have coming up? Aerial Rider is sending us a Grizzly. Like I said, we just did the Upco. We of course have the one scooter. We'll probably get some more. Anyway, we're kind of having some fun with that. And you'll see some scooters and bikes also appearing on the main channel as part of like truck reviews and stuff, because it gives us something to do with the truck. You know, we can actually haul things when we're pulling bikes and loading them up with bikes and stuff like that. So it kind of is a natural kind of dovetail, but then also gives us an opportunity. Oh, CRF 250. Yeah. Yeah, at this point in my life, as Devin's commenting on the Honda CRF 250 or a Sur-Ron, you know, for the way that these off-road bikes are used, I don't think I would buy gas at this point. I mean, the maintenance is so much lower on the electrics. The electrics are getting very good. Sur-Ron has a new like full-size motorcycle now, which is really cool. It just started to come out. KTM has one. There's a whole bunch of these things that are coming out that are all electric. Now, there is a price premium, but you have like practically no maintenance and, of course, no gas. It's really nice just to be able to pull it out, ride it, stick it back in the garage, plug it in, and that's it. That's all I got to do. I love it. So anyway, having a lot of fun with that. So we're trying to like, instead of doing the whole like Kyle Connor 500 different channels, because honestly, it's a lot to deal with. Branding and just channel management becomes kind of a bit of a hassle unless you have a massive crew. And I don't have a massive crew. At the end of the day, this channel is me. So I'm just trying to keep it easy, And yeah, so that's kind of where we're at on that. Let's see. Let me look at some of the questions here. Oh, and by the way, like one of the early, I don't want to say pioneer because that's speaking a little too heavy, but one of the early channels that did split into multiple channels was the Smoking Tire. Devin saying he's listening to the Smoking Tire podcast now. Matt learned pretty early on that if you start loading up your car review channel with a bunch of podcasts, that it can really suppress, because people aren't both interested in those things. And like with Driving Sports TV, a lot of people use the channel for active buying advice. So in many cases, people don't even really subscribe because they're looking to buy a car, a midsize sedan, just say, for example. They watch 20 different midsize sedan reviews, they buy a car, and that's the end of their interest, and that's fine. But they don't want to see a podcast. And if they do subscribe, it's because they're interested in the cars, not necessarily podcast/live. So we're going to keep this live channel because I still think that putting live on its own channel is a good thing. People who watch live sports versus people who play sports, not always the same thing. Kind of the same thing, I guess. Anyway, Devin says, I like the idea of being able to store an e-bike inside too, or inside a big SUV. Absolutely. Throw it on its side. Doesn't matter. No liquids going anywhere. You can bring it inside. Actually, that's kind of a funny thing. I noticed with the Ubco 2x2, when it was 28 degrees out, battery wouldn't charge at all. It actually needed to be brought inside so it could charge. Now, the nice thing is that many of these have battery packs. You just pull them out and then plug them in. So that's kind of nice. They think about that. That stuff is kind of planned out. I'm actually really excited to do that type of stuff. So as regular viewers know, we built some off-road courses, or an off-road course in the backyard of my new house, my new 100-year-old house. Anyway, in the back of the farmhouse. And I also built a single track now, which is fun. I can take mountain bikes back there. I can take the motorcycles back there. Like I said, my kids back there like every day ripping it up, which is great. But we banked it and we have some small jumps on it, just small jumps though. I'm not going to be about, just like Driving Sports TV, we don't really do the extreme stuff. We're not like, woo, and like jump something. That's not what I'm interested in. Devin found me from research of 4Runner before buying one. Thank you. Yeah, thank you. 4Runner is great, often overlooked by a lot of people. It's really funny. I was at the press launch for the Subaru Crosstrek just a couple days ago when we were at dinner. One of the journalists was like, I just can't believe, like, why does anybody buy a 4Runner? Why, he basically was hating on the 4Runner because he's like, this is old. Why do people buy this when you could get like, a Telluride with so much more stuff in it? And then I started complaining to him that, Kia lies and basically says that they have like center locking differentials. At least the 4Runner is a very honest vehicle. And he's like, no, it doesn't. And I found the Monroney, which is the sticker, and it actually, like even the Sportage, the new 2023 Sportage, it actually says on the Monroney, center locking differential. It's just like, oh, dude, they don't have to do that. I mean, their products are fine. But anyway, key point is that not everybody's into the 4Runner, but I think that it has a very distinct honesty, and it's a very comfortable kind of like do anything kind of vehicle. And really, when you get down to, you can complain about the gas mileage with a 4Runner, and that's a legitimate criticism. But any of these vehicles, you drive them in the way that you drive them, they're all going to get like 20 miles to the gallon. I mean, my Ranger technically gets better MPGs, but the way I drive it, yeah, you're looking at 18, which is no better than my other one. Alan is asking how the Ford Racing tune has been with the Ranger. Oh, since I bring up the Ranger, sure. Other than power, any feelings on it? Fuel economy difference? Yeah, fuel economy is worse, but I do find that I'm passing a little more often, so I'm not sure if that's necessarily because of the tune. I did recently drive that truck from Seattle to Las Vegas and came back via Death Valley, and I actually filmed a whole thing on that. but unfortunately there's an audio problem with my audio pack. That audio pack had an issue, and I'm not sure if I'm going to try to, well, I can't recover the audio. There's nothing to recover. It's mangled. But anyway, I might do it as a studio VO. I haven't quite decided. I have to look at the footage and see how much footage I have, whether or not I can carry that. Anyway, key point is I did just recently drive the Ranger from here to Las Vegas and back, which is about 2,000 miles roughly. Super comfortable, by the way. No issues at all with that drive. And I did get, I actually, that story is because I actually did calculate the MPGs using, emptying the tank and then filling it back up again. And see, I apparently haven't done the math on it yet. I think it was about 18 MPGs, I think, and that's basically doing 70 miles per hour, okay, a little faster than 70 miles per hour in spots, and yeah, it's great, which is fine. But the one thing that I keep in mind too, of course, it has grabber. It is running all-terrain tires, and this is not an MPG-oriented vehicle. But the amount of power that I have out of that truck now, it really is good. Like, so good. I'm almost like not really that interested in the new version right now. Maybe a Raptor version of the new one to replace this. I don't know. I do really like the size of this one, and I am very, very much concerned about the new one being bigger because it's like 2 inches bigger. And I already feel like the Ranger's kind of big enough in the version that I have. So I'm not sure about that. But anyway, the Flash, I would recommend it honestly to anybody. The downside is, of course, it does take premium fuel if you want to get the horsepower out of it. So if you don't plan on running premium fuel, no reason doing the reflash. But 18 MPGs, premium fuel, that's what you get. And in return, you get way more. I mean, I've done so many things where I've had so many vehicles where you spend a ton of time and money and parts to make a naturally aspirated vehicle go faster. And you're questioning on the dyno it says it's faster, but you're driving it going, is it really faster? This is no doubt. This thing is so much faster now, and it's great. I do really like it. In fact, it's hard to kind of almost like, what other truck maker outside, I guess Chevy, because Chevy is now going to be doing that same similar thing. I think they're requiring a dealer flash, though. I don't think it's going to be an aftermarket one that you can just buy and attach. But they are. They're doing a very similar thing with because they have the 2.7 liter 4-cylinder turbo in all the Colorados now, and you just get it basically at 3 different tune levels. Now the entry level tune level does have some different hardware, so you can't get the entry level and then upgrade that, but the mid spec one can be upgraded to the higher spec one with a reflash. So the one thing I love is that it's a very fast truck now, faster than any other truck you're going to buy off the lot until that Chevy ZR2 hits the market. But it's not on the market yet, so no worries there. I do like the way the ZR2, and because for those who watch regularly, you know that I just did the Colorado, and GM. That interior, I kind of wish. See, I prefer the way that Ford does it, where they have, they have a Tremor, but you can get the XLT Tremor or you can get a Lariat Tremor. The way GM does it is they basically say, here's the work truck. Okay, now here's the work truck version that is the Trail Boss. It's like, well, what if I want a mid-spec Trail Boss? That's not so bad, right? Well, you got to get the ZR1. And it was what the heck? Z1? I should know these things. Anyway, the other one. But now you're talking a lot more money too. So I don't know. Trucks are tough. Just nothing seems to be perfect. And for those wondering why I got the XLT for the Tremor, well, first off, it was what was available because I bought off the lot, which was weird to be able to do that during the pandemic. But also, I don't like the gauge cluster on the Lariat. I really, really don't like it. It's the old Ford 2 digital displays on the side, and it just, to me, it just seems like an old Ford sedan, and I just hate that display. I didn't like it when it first came out either. It doesn't look classy to me. I prefer the more simplified gauge cluster they get on the XLT. So there we go. Let's see. Puts Tacoma to shame. Yep. Mid-size wars are definitely heating up. Oh my gosh, I cannot wait to try the new Tacoma. So this isn't disclosing anything, but I am going to be driving the new, what is that? I'm going to be driving the new Grand Highlander from Toyota. We're going to be filming that second week of May. And they say that there's another vehicle that we're going to be shown and we're going to be able to film, but they're not telling us what it is. I'm expecting it could possibly be an early version of the Tacoma, the new Tacoma, because we're kind of in that time zone now. It should be coming soon. We should at least be getting sneak peeks of it. For example, the Crown, we got a sneak peek of that several months before it was announced. We weren't allowed to film it. They wouldn't even tell us that it was a Crown, but it was clearly the Crown. We knew this. Like everybody in the room's like, oh, look, it's the Crown. And they're like, no, we're not going to tell you what it is. And we're like, okay, why is the Crown a crossover now? But yeah. Yeah, midsize, it's going to be great. Once the Colorado and the ZR2 hits, and then we get the new Tacoma, and then, of course, we still have Nissan with their Frontier. Yeah, so it's going to be great. I mean, we'll basically have an embarrassment of riches in terms of trucks. It is... I mean, they're all going to be expensive, and they're all going to be probably more expensive than they should be. But there should be a lot of good options here coming up pretty soon for trucks, which I'm pretty stoked with actually. And then hopefully SUVs, like we get the new 4Runner and all that kind of stuff. I am so hoping that when the new 4Runner is announced, that Ford will bring the Everest over. I think that would just be the epic battle. I mean, because the Everest basically looks like a Ford version of a 4Runner. Would I get the Everest over the 4Runner? Probably not. But I don't know what the new 4Runner is either. But I think that would be just a really great battle. And I think that, the market could use another mid-size crossover that is, built on a truck chassis. I think we have too many of these crossovers that all kind of blur together, honestly, after a while. The way the Tundra has been with the new twin turbo engine, Grand Highlander seems like a better option with the Sequoia. Yeah. So the whole story with the Sequoia was basically Japan didn't want to give the U.S. its own chassis for this new Sequoia. So they were forced to basically use most of the Tundra in building of the vehicles. So because of that, they couldn't change the packaging too much, and there was no other place to put the batteries. The batteries basically had to be in the same location as they were in the truck hybrid version, which means that there was no place to indent to move things down. And then of course they have all their safety stuff where we're going to put all these layers on top of it, and you can't even put these seats on that you can't take off. And it really, talk about missing the point, I think. Everybody I've ever known who has ever bought one of those big things, that's a bit exaggerated. Many people I've known, not all of them, there's a few big families I know who need something like that, but most of the people I know who buy them need 2 rows and then a ton of storage. That's just what they want. Not everybody needs 3 rows in a vehicle that size, especially when you don't really have any storage space behind that 3rd row. It's like, what's the point? So I think the Grand Highlander basically is just going to eat into sales of the Sequoia. Those, basically it'll relegate the Sequoia to being a niche vehicle. But they're going to make a few of them. It's built expense-wise based on the Tundra chassis. I don't think that they have, in terms of new vehicle development, I don't think they spent as much money as they would on on the Grand Highlander. So I think it'll be fine. Yeah, it is odd that there isn't a non-hybrid version of the Sequoia. Now, one of the Toyota people did kind of allude to me that that's a possibility, but they needed to get the first version out the door. So I think that it's open to possibility in the next year or so. Because honestly, with the Tundra, I really like the non-hybrid one. I don't know if I would buy a Tundra, but if I did, I would seriously consider the non-hybrid. It's quick enough, unless you have a very specific need that the hybrid provides. That's the non-hybrid's a good one. Devin was saying his mom was waiting for the Sequoia, but after seeing it in person, the rear cargo space is a deal breaker. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, the Sequoia does look good though, and it is so big. It is so big, especially when they put on, I can't believe they gave us a TRD Pro to film that had the tow mirrors on it. I mean, put the tow mirrors on a Capstone, fine, because you're not going to take a Capstone off-roading, but you know, a TRD Pro, and you're already a massively wide vehicle, and now you're going to make it like 3 feet wider because of these tow mirrors. Oh man, sometimes I wonder what manufacturers are thinking about when they spec out the vehicles that go to the press fleets. I mean, like, did they just check every box? Because sometimes these configurations make no sense, the stuff that they send us. And sometimes they send us a vehicle that's like an off-road focused vehicle, and they put the wrong tires on it. By wrong, I don't mean like they like have 3 mismatched tires. No, it's just like, you know, it's like they'll put like, I think we've had a couple off-roady base trims, like vaguely off-roady, that also optioned 21-inch wheels. And it was like, what you doing? Why are you doing that? And then, of course, viewers are like, what, why aren't you going off-roading with that thing? It's because we don't want to damage $2,000 wheels. We have to write up damage reports on these things. If we scratch a wheel pretty badly, yeah, we got to write a damage report on that. And that's never fun. That's always a little awkward. So, yeah. Oh, God, the mirrors. Yeah, anyway, so most recently, what do we have coming up? We got a bunch of stuff. We've been loading up some EV content. So I drove the EV6 GT probably 3-4 weeks ago. That's already been filmed. I'm hoping to get that up by Saturday. Actually, I was supposed to edit it today and I didn't. It's already edited. I just need to proof it. My editor back east did it. And then what else do we have? Polestar 2, which is a little anticlimactic because the 2023 model has already been announced. So we already know that the 2023 model is going to be much better than the 2022 model, but all they have to give us is the 2022. So that review is coming. You can look forward to that one. What else? We got the Sierra. GMC Sierra Ultimate Edition. Of course, on Monday, we have the Crosstrek Premium 2.0. It would be... So I'm not sure if you guys remember the WRX. I was able to get a shot of the base trim WRX when we did that early preview video, and I think I included a shot of the infotainment in the video, and it's probably one of the worst integrations of multi-screen I've ever seen. It looks like somebody popped it out of their 3D printer at home. It's basically a bevel with two, like plain plastic bevel with 2 screens integrated into it. It looks real workshoppy, and that's basically what they're putting in on the base trim of the new Crosstrek 2. So even though all the videos you're going to see on Monday are of the premium, because that's the only car they provided any of us to review, the base trim of the new Crosstrek uses the dual screen setup similar to what's in the WRX. I know a lot of people aren't going to be too stoked about that, but as is typical with Subaru, you usually don't want to get the base trim anyway, because usually you spend a couple thousand, you get much better car. It just seems to be with Subaru. Although with the latest Impreza, they at least got rid of some of those base trims because those were pretty bad. When we were shopping for the Crosstrek for my wife, it was a little eye-opening, to be honest. We really weren't shopping for the Crosstrek. The Crosstrek just showed up at the dealer the day like that they were launched, because there were no press events during that time of COVID, and the car showed up. But before we bought it, I wanted to make sure that my wife also drove less expensive. My wife's fairly frugal. She doesn't want to spend money she doesn't want to, that she doesn't need to. I mean, we were basically going to buy the Crosstrek, but I wanted her to be able to drive some of the lower end models. And you know, in the press fleet, they don't provide us those lower end models, so I rarely see them. And it's like, wow, those were really bad. The plastic in the steering wheel, super hard. Fabrics, not good. They've axed them now. that base model doesn't really exist anymore going forward with the new Impreza. So that's kind of interesting. Oh, I'm supposed to drive the new Impreza later this month, I think, and then we have an embargo on that probably for a week. So you'll probably see my full review of the new Impreza probably in about 3 weeks, I think, something like that. Anybody else have any other questions in the chat there? We're still kind of, I got nowhere else to go. I put my little studio space together. Do you like this? This is one of my downed drones that died. I can't remember why that one ran into something. Got some other random lens over there. We got our old 100,000 subscriber YouTube button over there. It's a nice setup, but more important, I was working on the screens and all the stuff in front of me, which you can't see, but I can do some neat stuff. The new Jeep Compass turbocharged engine. Oh, I am so looking forward to that. For those who know, I did own a Jeep Compass for 3 months I bought it at the end of 2021, and I sold it at the beginning, so like basically 40 to 50 days later. And I actually really like that car. I did not think I would like it as much as I did, but the new interior in the Compass is really, really good. I had a Trailhawk edition. Bought it in Texas, drove it across the U.S., brought it here, and then sold it back. But the big problem with that vehicle was the motor. The motor was not good. It was slow. Jeep Compass, turbocharged engine. I'm really looking forward to it. Am I going to go on the press drive? No, Jeep doesn't seem to invite me to anything, but that's okay. We're on good terms, and they get me the vehicles when they can. So there's that. Says a guy who hasn't reviewed a Wrangler in what? Have I ever reviewed a Wrangler? I've driven them. Yeah, I don't know if I've driven a Wrangler. I don't think I've reviewed a Wrangler. Anyway, they don't send a lot of cars to the Northwest Press Fleet, but hopefully they'll send one of those up. Alan's asking, any cool projects outside of driving sports? Yeah, there are. Can't really talk about them yet, but we're doing a bunch of stuff with Hemmings. Mike Musto and me, we go back several years. We've done lots of stuff together. We're producing their podcast series, the Hot Rod Barbecue. Actually, that's one reason I'm in the studio today. We filmed 3 barbecue episodes earlier today, but we're doing a number of projects. They have a whole lot of video projects coming up. I don't know which one we're filming next. The most recent one we did was the IROC Z series. So that was actually Musto produced it. It was for Hemmings. I directed and did supplemental shooting, and then Nick Mayatki, who works for me, was one of the shooters on it. And anyway, it turned out to be a really great project. I really enjoyed that one. We basically lived in Vermont for a few weeks last year and popped that show out. And that is just like the beginning of a whole bunch of shows that they're planning. Now, in this world, of course, until the deposit check arrives and all the crew is slated, it's not really a thing. So, but there's a lot of stuff that we have planned for that. We should start shooting some new stuff for them starting next month. That's going to be me and Nick Mayatki, and then we have a couple of people working on those projects as well. So that's pretty fun. For those who don't know, Nick, this other Nick Mayatki, who I mentioned, I heard him probably about 4 months ago. He was formerly a producer over on CNET Roadshow, and he's been doing the editing on the driving sports episodes for the last. I edit a few of them, but he does the bulk of them, and then I do a final pass. So it's really kind of taken the burden of editing off of me, which is nice, so I can shoot a lot more. So that's been kind of fun. Other projects. I have some live streaming stuff I produced. I just produced a show down in Vegas for a live stream, but it was medical related. I have this whole weird sideline of doing medical stuff that I don't seek out, but it always seeks me out. And it's kind of like, what is it? Was it Pacino who's like, I keep trying to get out and they keep pulling me in? Something like that. So That was probably the worst Pacino ever. So I still do some of those things. I produce some live events for medical community. It's totally random, but it uses the same equipment that I use for live streaming shows like this, as well as stuff that we do for the car show as well too. So that's kind of fun, and it's a change of pace. It's always kind of nice to have a slight change of pace, and I only do probably about 5 or 6 of those a year. They're pretty small compared to everything else that I'm doing. So what else? Some commercial clients. Nothing too exciting. Is the Volvo XC60 PHEV the best luxury plug-in? I haven't driven it yet because they just don't have one in the fleet. Actually, let me see if they got one yet. XC60, because I really want to drive that, because it probably is. I am so looking forward to so many more PHEVs, because I think PHEV really is kind of like, it's a right size of electric for these transitionary times. Not everybody needs a full electric, and not everybody should be using gas if they have a short commute. If you don't need to, don't. Let's see, what is that? Let's see, which cars do we have here? There's the list. How old is this list? This list is a couple weeks old, so it may not be completely up to date. Let's see. Nope, they just have the V60 Cross Country and the XC90E all-wheel drive Ultimate. That was the other one, but I do have a request in for the XC90, so hopefully we'll get into that fairly soon. But the way the car fleets work is basically we don't know what's coming. Even the fleet managers don't know what's coming until it arrives, because cars can get diverted to whatever fleet or whatever requirements. They can go get sent to a film or whatever. Another question, where did you get that Laguna Seca hoodie? This hoodie is my favorite hoodie, and it's not because of what's on it. It's super comfortable, and I've had this hoodie forever, and it refuses to die. I basically need to rebuy the same hoodie. This was for the 2008 STI press launch, which we did at Laguna Seca. At the time, it was Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca, which I still hear in my head whenever I say Laguna Seca. What's it now? WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca? That does not have the same ring to it. But then again, Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca also didn't have a very good ring. Anyway, yeah, so this was from a press event. Whenever we go to a press event, they usually give us a jacket or sweater because they assume that as journalists, we don't dress ourselves appropriately for the weather. And there's something to that. Yeah, so they gave us hoodies at that one, which is nice. Most of my coats, that's why I have like Toyota and Subaru and all that. I don't ask for these coats. They just give them to us. And I wear them because they're good coats. They're like really, really good coats. It's unfortunate that some of them have logos on them, but honestly, every press event we go to, be it Hyundai, Subaru, Toyota, whatever, usually, not every single event, but if we're going to like a cold place, they will always give us a big puffy coat. And that's cool. I wear them for a few years and then I donate them to like some place where people can, need a warm coat. So that's always kind of nice. But yeah, I mean, here's this beautiful coat. Why would I not wear it? It's unfortunate that there's some branding on them though. This one, this one doesn't exist. They were made just for this. Or you just want to know what kind of, if you bought one, it would have to be, it would be unmade because they actually had these specifically embroidered for the event. Mostly because they actually make them for the entire crew. So like the staff all wears these, and then they also give them to the journalists because they're already making like 100 of them anyway. So they're going to make another 20 more for the journalists. This is a StormTech. It's a really great hoodie, and it's a large, so they must be oversized because I usually wear an XL. But it's a Canadian designed and made since 1977. So StormTech large hoodie. I really like this one. I need to buy another one of these. But no, it won't have the embroidery on it. Sorry. And the few journalists I've ever seen who still have these will never give them up because they're so comfortable. You'd buy. Actually, I have a whole box of Subaru stuff that I've just collected over the years from back when I was doing rally stuff. Because like at every rally, they would throw coats and shirts, and I don't even remember. Like they always had giveaways in the pits, and so I ended up with just all this random stuff. So I got a few of those things kind of kicking around. Yeah, so there's that. Any other questions? We're at 4:06. I don't need to wrap up, but I kind of feel like I'm just talking a lot now. Do you guys like this studio setup, kind of? I mean, I don't like to do the square on. I prefer a sideways screen, but this just works better because I can have a monitor here, and it just kind of squares up nicely. And then I have I have a multi-view on the wall in the back there, so I can kind of see what all my camera stuff is. Because I got all this really cool stuff that I'll use for other videos when I'm actually like planning out a production or something. But I can, like for example, I could just, I can bring open these videos. So like here's an old video of mine. We can just plow through, which is kind of cool, you know. I'm just reconfiguring stuff. So we have like a whole play out system here, so I can play out videos. If we wanted to, I could actually do like a, I could monologue. Oh, that's from barbecue from earlier. Let's see. Let's see if I can do this while live on the air. So I don't want to do media player. I want to do let's do program. So that's C5. Normally I like plan all this stuff out in advance. But like I was saying, this one's a little bit weirder. So I could do that and then bring in camera 7. And then I could do like a whole monologue where I'm like talking about the videos after the fact. You know, it's like, it's been a long time since I've produced a lot of these. And like, what's my opinion now on some of this stuff? That actually might be kind of fun to bring back some of the videos from, let's see, kind of move my box over here. Bring back some of the videos from yesterday, you know, I mean, we've been doing this for 16 years. I got some videos where I actually have all my hair and it might be kind of fun to bring those out. And then there's also like some of those other videos that we've done, like, cause we've been doing this a very, very long time. Oops. Let me go back to a normal camera view. I need to go to 7. Which one is that? It's a 5. Okay. So we've been doing this for a very, very long time. I've had a number of people as hosts and co-hosts on the show over time, and a lot of them have gone on to do other things. It might be kind of fun to bring back some of the early co-hosts. Like, anybody remember Jessica? She's now producing videos for the Getty Museum and PBS. So she's doing well. She went down to LA and I think she ended up getting a degree in science of some sort, maybe her doctorate, master's, something like that. Anyway, she's gone on she furthered her education, and then she eventually started doing videos. So you can actually, where is that? I want to see if I can find one of those videos. They're really good. Let's see. So Jessica. Oh no, it wasn't the PBS ones. It was the Getty ones where she talks about art, which is pretty cool. I can't remember. I think it was called Artly or something like that. Anyway, it was a cool series that she did. I think she's doing a new season of it this upcoming year too. So you can still find her on YouTube. She's still popping around. She's just doing more higher class stuff now, I guess. Jessica's great. I still love Jessica. I visit her when I'm in LA, which it's been a few years, but I should have coffee with her when I'm down there next time. While reading some of the comments, do I still have my 4Runner? No, sorry. So my intent with press cars is to keep them for the year of production, for basically within the year of production that they are. So I had a 2021 4Runner and I kept it until 2022. And then I got the, what'd I get? Oh, then I got the Maverick. And then near the end of 2022, there weren't any real 2023s I could get. So I went ahead and bought the Ranger as part of a longer play to have the old Ranger, the best of the previous Ranger, the Tremor, and then move into the new Ranger as that came out, because clearly a new 4Runner was not around the corner. My original intention was to actually have the 4Runner and then keep it until the new 4Runner came out. But with all the delays on that, it's like I'm not waiting 3 years to trade in the 4Runner. Plus, I had the opportunity to do the Maverick because this Maverick just popped out of nowhere and I was able to buy it. And it was like the first Maverick that like anybody did a video on. So that was really good. It was good for the channel, brought in a lot of viewers. That was nice. And it was great to actually own the Maverick. It was a fun little truck. Not for everybody, but... And thanks for the comment on the Death Valley video. Other than the fact that I totally was like, oh no, snow, it's 2 inches deep. I'm never gonna make it. But you have to keep in mind, I actually was driving to a destination, which I had to be there at a certain time. I'm outside of cell phone signal, didn't know where the road was gonna go, and the snow was starting to get a little bit deeper, so I was panicking a little bit. But anyway, that was a fun video. I kind of tried to do similar one with the Ranger that I filmed last month, but we had audio issues with it, so I don't know if that one's ever going to come out. Maybe it will. Wow, it was my 2018 SQ5 video that made you buy your 2018 S4. Nice. Yeah, the S4 is great. Love the S4. I kind of wish that I did more stuff with Audi, but their press fleet up here is really small. The only other car they have in the press fleet up here right now is a convertible. I think it's an S4 convertible. And I don't see a lot of views from videos like that. It's just not the audience. So I'm probably going to avoid that. Any road trips plan, Alan is asking. Road trips. No, I mean, I just did Death Valley like last week. I tried to drive up to mining town using the back road side. Unfortunately, there was still a lot of snow in the mountains. The weather's been really weird lately. So I don't have any actual things planned right now for snow. I mean, not snow, for road trips, because I just came back from that one. I want to do more road trips this summer. I also want to do some more adventures this summer. A little bit longer form videos would be nice. But that also depends on the Hemmings production calendar. Because again, we're doing some of these fairly higher end productions for them, where basically it's a whole crew moving across the country doing different things. So there's a lot of moving pieces, and those kind of eat my time away a little bit. Plus, my family actually is going to go on vacation for the first time pretty much ever this year. I've earned up a lot of United miles, and I'm going to cash them in. So me and the family, the kids, before the kids get too old, we're going to go to Europe or something. I don't know. We'll see. So yeah, it's kind of like, I don't know. It's, I want to do more. I will. One thing I actually really want to do, which has nothing to do with driving sports TV, but it's more about the writing sports TV, the new two-wheel channel, is I want to take a vehicle like the Upco and do like one of the big overland trails with it, like maybe the Washington BDR or something like that, just to see if you can actually do something like that with a bike like that. I imagine you can. I don't really want to do things which are impossible or miserable. I'm not 20 anymore, okay? Let's not do anything that's absolutely miserable, but something like that would be kind of fun. I'd kind of enjoy that. Anyway, I think we're probably going to wrap this up. I'm sure my family would like to see me at some point today. I just got back from being gone for a week. So thanks everybody for dropping in. We're going to do more of these going forward. I do have a whole studio here that I set up. I mean, this is a dedicated studio space that I have in Gig Harbor, which is actually 30 minutes from my house, because I needed a place that had better internet than my house. My house internet's okay, and actually it's like one of the better in the neighborhood, because we're right at the end of where the high speed stops. Like across the street from me, no high speed internet. My house, last high speed internet on the KP apparently. So anyway, yeah. So anyway, so this is actually the studio in Gig Harbor, so I do have to run over here to do these type of things, but I think it's fun. Anyway, we're going to do more of this. I think next week I might do a Q&A after the Crosstrek video drops, because I'm sure a lot of people are going to have some questions about that vehicle. So I might do a live Q&A, but I'm not going to do a live Q&A if it eats into the Raptor R time, because I just got the Raptor RE last night, the F-150. So I need to film something with that. I have plans, of course, but until we are weather dependent. I was just looking at the off-road test course, and all my cameras over there are showing snow again, but not cold. It's like 40 degrees and snow. snow is not useful in terms of snow. That's slush. So, yeah, I'm hoping that either it stops snowing over there or it gets colder. And I don't think either of those things are going to happen. So I don't know. We're going to see. I'm kind of limited where I can go based on current snowpack. Because this time of year, this slushy stuff is just tough. Anyway, that's all I got for right now. Thanks for tuning in to this live impromptu chat. I've really, this has actually been pretty fun. We should do this again sometime. Thanks, guys. We'll see you later.